Into first take this morning out of the NBA. Gregg Popovich will no longer be head coach of the San Antonio Spurs and is transitioning to full-time team president. Sources told ESPN the iconic Popovich is a basketball Hall of Famer, the NBA's all-time winningest coach, and led the Spurs to 5 championships. All right, Stephen A., I'll start with you here. Your reaction?
Well, I'm happy, to be quite honest with you, from the standpoint that, Gregg Popovich has climbed up there in age. He's had some health issues. God bless him. I wish him nothing but the best, obviously. The regular grind of coaching on a day-to-day basis, particularly with this younger generation of players, it might be suited for somebody else at this particular moment in time. It's not like he's fading into the twilight. He's still going to serve as team president. He's still going to be a primary decision maker with that franchise. This is a 5-time champion, a 3-time coach of the year, all-time coach, winningest coach in regular season wins with 1,422, 170 postseason wins, third all-time, only behind Pat Riley and Phil Jackson. And Jay, and I've said this, and Popovich and I haven't spoken in a very, very long time, but I used to say this about him all the time, and I see Shams there right now. I would say this about Popovich all the time, and I say this affectionately. I used to joke around calling him the biggest phony you'd ever meet because he comes across as so acerbic and so abrasive at times. He's one of the nicer individuals you will ever find. A good man who is beloved by players who have played for him, that has done so much for the game and is revered even by opposing players that have gone up against his franchises because of what he's meant to the game of basketball. And I've always had profound respect and appreciation for him and what he's brought to the game of basketball and the tree of individuals he's had out there that have springboarded. And Ime Udoka once was an assistant under him. Obviously, Steve Kerr and his relationship goes back a ways as well. So I'm just, as long as he's still around the game of basketball, I'm fine with it, and as long as he's okay and in good health.
And according to Shams reporting, Stephen A., he is, and we have Shams live with us right now. Shams, obviously you broke this story. Could you give us a little more context on what led to this decision?
Molly, Gregg Popovich has been in the Spurs facility in the last few days. So as Stephen A. just said, and as I reported, he will still be involved, very hands-on, a vital member of their day-to-day operations. And from my understanding is, as much as Gregg Popovich wanted to continue to coach, he wanted to be back on the sidelines, statements this year, the conclusion that he came to is that it essentially was just going to be too taxing for him. The NBA grind as a head coach, it's a difficult one. And he's someone that is recovering from the stroke in November, and he's making strides. He's on a human level. That's very important. On a human level, he is doing much better. He's in a good place. And he is showing up to the facility. He is a part of what's going on with the Spurs every single day. He'll continue to be, along with their CEO, R.C. Buford. Those are the two architects of everything that goes on in San Antonio. So as much as he pushed and wanted to return, the conclusion was just the taxing nature of being an NBA coach was just not something that was going to be sustainable for him. And this is arguably the best coach of all time, 5 championships, the most wins in NBA history, 3 Coach of the Years, tied for the most in league history. So Gregg Popovich is now stepping away from a 29-year run. He started as a front office member with the Spurs in 1994, exactly in May of 1994. And he became a head coach of the Spurs in 1996. Obviously, he has not looked back. He's had a legendary run, Basketball Hall of Famer. He is done as a head coach. He's continuing on as president of basketball operations.
Stephen A., you know my affinity for how businesses are run. You and I have a lot of conversations about, how businesses ran at different organizations and what the standard of excellence is. The standard of excellence that we've seen from Gregg Popovich over his career has been one of the most incredible careers in the game of basketball we've ever seen. And I will say this, I have a chance to be been coached by him. USA Basketball, spent some time around him. The affinity you hear players speak about when they reference his name is overwhelmingly positive and moving and intentional. He touches people in the right capacity. And I just, look, we have a lot of conversations about Victor Wembanyama and where this franchise is going and will they be in the Cooper Flag lottery that happens coming soon. But no one can deny that this is not a first-class organization with the way they handle things. R.C. Buford is a first-class individual and human being. And the fact that you love, as a former player and hearing about players, treating your own the right way matters. And the way they have treated Gregg Popovich matters. And I'm glad they have treated him this way, and the fact that he will always remain a staple within the organization.
Yeah, absolutely iconic. Obviously, Stephen A., it's a desirable job, right? They've got Stefan Castle out of UConn. They've got Wemby. Who do you think could or should be the next head coach?
I really don't have an idea on that at this particular moment in time. I saw Jeff Van Gundy on the bench for the Clippers the other day. I'm certainly, Shams, I'm not throwing out any candidates in terms of people that the San Antonio Spurs are looking at, because I have no idea. I'll leave that to you. I'm just bringing up names of dudes that I know can coach. I'm going to always bring up the name Mark Jackson, because I hate the fact that he apparently has been blackballed. I don't think he deserved that with the job he's did in Golden State. And I definitely would like to see I'd like to see him back in the game. I think about Jeff Van Gundy and what he's brought to the Clippers and how he's reminded everybody what an outstanding coach he is. It would have easily been Ime Udoka if he wasn't in Houston, because of his history in San Antonio on the bench for Popovich. I think about a Sam Cassell now in Boston and what he brings to the table, waiting for his first opportunity. I don't know who would it be, but I know there are plenty of qualified candidates out there, and to have De'Aaron Fox, to have Wembanyama, along with the fact that you have assets that you can trade in order to acquire somebody big time, like we just been speculating about Giannis in San Antonio when Wembanyama, if he didn't go to OKC or something like that. All of these things are possible.
Yeah, we just have 2 minutes. I want to get both Shams and Jay back in here. Shams?
Yeah, from everything I understand, whoever the next coach of the San Antonio Spurs will be, and I'm sure they have a good idea of it, it'll be someone with continuity, somewhere where there's a through line there with both Gregg Popovich, R.C. Buford, someone that has been a member of that organization and has some level of equity there.
Okay.
I will throw out a name that I think it would be an incredible move, and it would be such Gregg Popovich-like. Same with R.C. Buford, Becky Hammon. I mean, talk about a through line. Talk about a through line. Talk about championship experience with the Las Vegas Aces. Talk about the first woman head coach in the NBA, the Spurs, or the organization to make a move like that.
Yeah, I love that.
Yes.
She would deserve it.
She would deserve it. And she would be an absolute beast as a head coach. She spent time with our organization here. We all know how she acts.
Shams, how will Gregg Popovich be remembered as a coach?
As the best coach, arguably, of all time, someone that you think about, an architect of an organization. He is the San Antonio Spurs. Gregg Popovich, in a lot of ways, is everything that whole organization has been about. And what they were about was a dynasty run with 5 championships. So he's a legend, a Hall of Famer, and he is the architect of an entire organization, a culture setter.
Molly, Michael Jordan 6-0 in the NBA Finals as a player. Gregg Popovich 5-1 in 6 NBA Finals as a coach.
Ooh.
Unbelievable. Jay, give you the final word and how you'll remember him as a coach.
I mean, when you think about the greatest of all time in that conversation, the elite of the elite.
Absolutely.
All right. Shams.
Bạn đã quay trở lại với kênh YouTube của mình. Ngày hôm nay mình sẽ tiếp tục đi tô màu để gửi tặng đến các bạn những phút giây